All right, welcome back. Now, more than 1 month after the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo visited the ports in Lagos State and ordered a 72-hour joint operation by security operatives to clear the gridlock in and around Apapa, little progress appears to have been made in that regard.
Yeah, the Vice President paid an unscheduled visit to Apapa in July. He had directed relevant government agencies to immediately embark on the decongestion of the Wharf Road and the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway to allow for free flow of traffic. Osinbajo, in the company of Lagos State Governor Kumi Ambode and Transport Minister Rotimi Amechi, also met with relevant stakeholders on the traffic management mechanism to brainstorm on decongesting traffic in the cosmopolitan state. But despite all of these, the gridlock in Apapa still persists. Reports say several cargoes and containers remain trapped in the port even after the deployment of over 1,000 security personnel by the Lagos State Police Command and other relevant agencies in an operation tagged Operation Restore Sanity. When will the sanity be restored in the Apapa area? That's the big question we have right now. We have joining us a social commentator, Femi Lawson, in the studio. Femi, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you join us.
Good morning.
It seemed like there's something beyond logic or something beyond science or something beyond the understanding of those who should put things in place on the Apapa gridlock. Over the years, we've had the acting president visit there. Even in the last dispensation, it was the same thing. But there doesn't seem to be a solution to this.
Well, I think what we have in Apapa today is just a reflection of how we address serious issues in this country, and no amount of visits, even by the president, the governors, or taking thousands of security men to that route will solve the problem, because we are pretending and we continue to pretend. And I think Nigerians must begin to look at addressing this issue in an honest manner. The governor of Lagos State made a very honest comment a few weeks back when he suggested that the government, federal government, should look at a way of diverting cargoes away from the Lagos port. We'll continue to have what we have in Apapa. I was in Olodi a few days ago, and it's sort of very unfortunate that even residents of Ajegunle and Olodi Apapa can no longer go to their homes in their private cars. It's not possible. And why do we have this? Apapa port was built for a purpose. When the port was there, and that is why no matter the construction, the reconstruction of the road that may go on there, we may have just some immediate relief that's not really going to address the issue. When that port was situated there, that port was not meant to accommodate the thousands of tankers that you have on that road today. They were not part of the primary purpose. A lot of these activities that are taking place in the port today were not, the port was not meant for that purpose. Today you had a whole cement factory bagging its products in that same port. You can imagine the number of trailers that have to go into Apapa port to pick out cement. Then you have the containers taking goods out of Apapa. And you remember that even when this port started, there was provision for rail line from the port to the mainland. That's why you have what you have in Ido there, the Ido terminal. The train brings the goods from the port there. Then the trailers go to Ido, pick it and take to their destinations. But today, every trailers have to go to Apapa to pick their goods. And today, everybody who has to import anything from most part of Nigeria have to come to Lagos. And you can't imagine why somebody who have goods to sell in Aba, in Inewi, in Onitsha, would live on Port Harcourt, where there's a port, and come to Lagos. The man shipping to Jos, Makurdi, Borno, Yobe, who should have some 5-6 hours to Calabar, have to come to Lagos. You understand? So that is the sincere approach. We must, first and foremost, as a country, be sincere with ourselves. The port is over-congested. It is not, that place was not built for the capacity of what it is containing today. And no amount of taking traffic officers or law enforcement agents to that place can really address. The core issue is that the place is choked up. It does not have the capacity for what it's presently undertaking, and the government must sincerely deal with this issue.
All right. Well, someone told me, an insider within the port environment, that look, one of the other problems as well is that government over the years has not expanded the infrastructure to accommodate the explosion of, you know, what you have at the moment, you know. But be that as it may, the governor, you know, talked about building bays, holding bays for, you know, trucks and all of that, and then they talked about a land around Ojo and then Urile Gomu as well. There is a sense in which, you know, that would also help in addressing the issue.
No, I want to clearly disagree with that. It's just like...
You disagree?
Yeah, I quite disagree
Why?
with that, because it is just like taking a problem from one place and imposing it on another. You cannot take a problem away from Apapa and impose it on the people of Ojo or Orile Goma, as the case may be. Look at the rising of tank farms, to the extent that tank farms are now situated within residential areas. You know, the resident complained about a few days ago. See, these places...
And in case of an explosion,
yes, these infrastructures are not meant for where they are today. We must look at how we can, you know, take some of these infrastructures away from that place. Not about building more, you know, bay for trailers. You know, the number of trucks coming into Lagos to pick petroleum products keep increasing. And you cannot continue to take traffic away from a particular place and relocating it to... You will always continue to have the same situation if moving it away from the left to the right. I think the government must be sincere in ensuring that, number one, the issue of tank farms in Apapa has to be addressed. A lot of those places, you know, were not initially allocated for this purpose, and today they are all there and they continue to be there. I would not expect that same road to continue to accommodate these thousands of tankers.
So how do you expect government to address it?
The government must first and foremost, you know, be principled enough in ensuring that a policy that will divert cargoes is put in place to decongest Apapa. A lot of these cargoes that are coming to Lagos should be diverted to other ports, including petroleum products. Because it is not only in Lagos that these petroleum products are consumed. Then why do you have to bring on the tanks, all the tankers from every part of Nigeria to Lagos? These vessels can be diverted to other ports in Calabar, in One. Look at most of the oil servicing companies in Nigeria today. None of them bring their equipment through Lagos. Go to and you know the good part of it, when this equipment arrives Port Harcourt, a lot of them are not even moved by road. They are moved by barges, a lot of them. So you can hardly find trucks on the roads of Port Harcourt, you know, carrying equipment belonging to oil servicing company. Why are we not going to do that for, you know, distribution of petroleum products if we are sincere as a country? So I think we must look beyond creating, you know, similar infrastructures that will continue to bring in tankers, you know, and these long trucks to Lagos and unnecessarily congest the roads and inconvenience the citizen, you know, into other means like decongesting the port in its real sense by diverting cargo to other parts of the country, you know, in order to actually create a genuine relief.
Relief,
you know, for
relieve Lagos of pressure.
All right. Now, these suggestions have been put forth to government over the years, and actually it's not rocket science. It's just logic. It's just common sense to say, okay, Lagos is too congested. Let us decentralize some of these, so that if you're coming with goods that are not necessarily meant for the Lagos audience or Lagos customer, you move it to other parts of the country. But the point there is, I want to see from a different perspective. Do you think that either some very powerful institutions or people are benefiting from the status quo, or the hands of government are tied to a great extent that something beyond the understanding of the ordinary person?
You know, that's just the straight, that's just the plain truth. You know, we've come to find ourselves in a country where virtually all sectors of our society is administered by one cabal or the other, and you cannot, you know, rule out the role of the cabal in ensuring that Apapa remains what it is. A lot of those, you know, stakeholders within the port sector are not ready to leave Lagos. And they will continue to ensure that Apapa remains what it is, you know, not minding
benefiting
what you pay
from
as
the
demurrage. You know, a lot of people are benefiting from this chaos. And if not, every sane person that finds himself in Apapa would wish that that place is decongested as soon as possible. It is agonizing for the people around Apapa. You need to just visit people in Olodi Apapa, people in Ajegule, and let them narrate their experiences. It is agonizing. And you will not imagine that, you know, a government will sit and allow, you know, such place to continue to exist in such manner. I think the government must be honest in dealing with the Apapa situation. It is beyond taking traffic control officers there. In fact, Lagos State is even going out of its way, in doing what ordinarily should not. Lagos State did not create the problem. So I don't think Lagos State should be spending so much in, maintaining law and order where the federal government should ordinarily have taken the right step in ensuring that there's free flow of traffic and easy movement for goods and services and even the people. So I think the government must be sincere. There are other ports. Let there be infrastructural expansion in these other ports. Let us divert our cargoes away from Lagos, and there will be sanity.
Well, just as Mike, asked about some interests benefiting from the
you call them
from the chaos, and you also submitted that the government must muster the political will, to be able to do this in the interest of the people, no matter whose ox is God. Yeah. But do you not also think that government is also thinking in the other direction of, okay, if we decide to take the bull by the horn, no matter whose ox is God, people's jobs are going to be affected, when we're talking about issues of unemployment, and all of that? Do you not also think that government is thinking in that direction?
I think we will not be taking jobs away from the people. We may end up creating more jobs.
Creating more jobs.
If we do that. Because a lot of persons who are into the import and export business here would naturally relocate. Then you'll be creating infrastructural development there. More house owners will be coming up in these places, More industries will be emerging in these places. So I think we'll be creating more jobs than, taking people out of their jobs if we do that. Because the moment the ports in Calabar and Port Harcourt become more functional, then you have industries, you have businesses springing up more there. So I don't think we'll be taking jobs away from people. It's a way of expanding jobs. It's a way of creating more jobs. And those who are afraid of allowing Apapa to decongest, only God understands the spiritual reason for their actions.
So it's like a spiritual attack. All right, no, but if we are where we are right now already, things are in a very bad shape when you come to that access. If steps have to be taken now, what first steps do you think should be taken and how?
In the immediate, I think we should look at how urgently we can restore the rail system from the port to the mainland, at least. Then a lot of time this issue of the rail from the port outside has been raised, and I think now that the rail system in Nigeria seems to be, resurging on at a very rapid rate, I think it is important that we look at how we can take advantage of the revolution that is going on in the rail sector, bringing it up, to ferry goods out of the port to the mainland. We can resuscitate
and take off the pressure from the roads,
so that the trucks can at least take advantage of the little space available on the mainland to get their goods from the train and move it to their destination. And we should also look at how the rail system can be used. The inland, the dry port was commissioned in Kaduna a few months back also by the president. How many containers have been taken from Apapa by rail to the Kaduna dry port? How many trucks are there? The place is virtually like an empty place. At a point in time, about 5 years ago, a particular one was also commissioned in Oyo State, around Lagelu local government there, to take containers from here. And but who is using it? All these trucks are still finding their way to Lagos. So in the immediate, if we can ensure that the rail system is reactivated within the port and these containers are taken out of the port, through train, then they can be picked up at these available dry ports, and it will a little bit decongest the situation in Apapa.
Okay. All right, Mike, sometimes it does appear when people get into the governance space, whether there is some spirit that takes away.
You're going back to the spirit. You're going back to the spirit again. Seriously. No, I think it all boils down to the issue of the will and all of that. And then he was talking about cabal.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people in government
don't want
to offend certain
they don't want to step on some toes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Commissioner for Transport, Lawanson, Ladi Lawanson, talked about, asking government to grant Lagos, special status. Is there a sense you're thinking that will help?
No, I think we must expand that beyond just granting Lagos special status. Lagos have, for ages, deserved that. But I think that is why, until we address, there's no way, and that is, I think it is difficult for the federal government to do, because as long as we continue to run away from the need to restructure the system. If the system is properly restructured, as been demanded by patriotic Nigerians, naturally, Lagos will get its due. And there will be no need for demanding for special status for Lagos in a properly restructured, society. So I think we must address this question of restructuring this country, so that each, state, each unit can operate, to the fullest of its capacity.
And where it has comparative advantage.
Yep.
Where a lot of people have, when it comes to the issue of a special status, some people have argued that as far as the Constitution is concerned, all states are equal. Yep. So if you're talking about special status, how do you exactly? How do you handle that?
Address all these issues.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Femi Lawson, thank you very much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Now, just before we go, we have to let you know that the views and reactions of our resource persons and the topics discussed on the program today are their views and have no connection with TVC News. We need to establish that and let you know.